Hello, and welcome to the Weekly Scroll Podcast. My name is Ryan.
And I am a peasant in plague-ridden France.
Look at you. We're between two fires here. And look at that luscious beard you're cracking, dude.
Oh, did you notice? I have not been. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've noticed for a while. It's coming in. Look at you.
It's funny. By the way, that between two fires comment, we're gonna come all the way back to that later on. But keep going.
Oh, look at us. Look at us. I didn't even know. We're gonna full circle this one. But today, hey, we're here. I think we didn't do episodes last week because I was ill. I think we just had.
I think we didn't do episodes 2 weeks in a row, right?
We can't fucking even remember.
I don't remember.
I mean, we've done stuff.
Sick. Yeah, I was sick like 2 weeks ago, and you were sick last week. And we both had, I think we both had very similar things, you know?
You had stomach stuff. Yeah, I think I legit had food poisoning. I think you just had like a bug.
I had a bug. It was a week, man. It was like fucking week. So
mine was only like 2 or 3 days. So
I still went to my incredibly physical job, which was fun. But yeah, anyway.
Well, I either called out sick or got called off for my job for most of the 2 weeks. So like I've been chilling.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Accomplishing nothing in my life. But you know, here we are. So we're back. We're back doing an episode. Today is Leap Day. Happy Leap Day.
Oh, Merry Leapmas to you.
Yeah. Isn't there a movie about this where like chicks like where women can like propose to men on this day or whatever, and
it's the only day. Yeah, you hear that, ladies?
Yeah, it's the only one.
You're only allowed to propose to men once every 4 years.
Yes, stick to your gender norms, you know.
No, I'm familiar with the Leapmas holiday, where you set out a leap tree and you wait for the Merry Leaper to leave gifts. I'm just going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. So, but also that means it's the last day of Zine Quest, kind of. I guess
if you start into March.
If you start a project after today, you're not really in Zine month.
You're not
but
Zine
ones
Quester.
that have already started, Zine Quest or whatever. But it's a oh yeah, hey, we're gonna review a game today.
Oh, we are.
Yeah, right. Crazy. I know we've done so many episodes, and most of them haven't been reviews, but we're going to get back to it. So today we are going to be looking at this beautiful little zine right here. This is Vermhack from Feral Indie Studio. Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous zine. Charlie Fairgraves, Avery. It's good stuff. We're gonna be talking about that. I'll get a little bit more into that in just a little bit, but seeing as it is the last day of Zine Quest, it'll be the last that we cover Zine Quest for the month. So we have a couple projects we want to touch on that are carrying over, and just a couple. Listen, at some point I'm going to do a little write up on how much we did in the last 2 months on Zine Quest. It's a lot. I looked at it.
It was a little bit. Yeah,
it was a lot. Yeah, we're going to structure it a little bit better next year, and we'll go over that in the review of it.
I can almost guarantee we won't, but yeah.
Well, I can tell you we're not going to quite do what we did this time because, man, that burned me out pretty quickly. But we'll see. But we'll see. Yeah, let's hit on why don't we hit on a couple of these projects and then we'll get into the
what's
review.
On your mind.
Yeah, so first and foremost, let's talk about Swivers. Yeah, we had Luke Gearing and David Hoskins on the show. Fantastic. Like, that's awesome.
So cool.
That's one of the coolest moments we've had on the podcast.
Really like a very cool. Yeah, I mean, they were great to have on, and they were like very cool to hang out with. But it was a little bit of a like, okay, I should not stand over these people right now.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely one of those. It's kind of like our very first interview where we had Johan friggin' Noor on, and I was just like, and that was like 100 episodes ago.
It's like a little bit related, but also unrelated. I had a friend, my only friend in town over, and he's like a big tabletop guy, or he's trying to get more enthused. And he pulled out something he was talking about, and I looked. I was like, "Oh, art by David Hoskins." I was like, "I just talked to him."
Yeah,
like
really
it was
cool.
yesterday.
Yeah. But yeah, so those two are working on a project called Swivers for Melsonian Arts Council. You might know Melsonian Arts Council from a little game called Troika, as well as a whole shelf of shit as I point behind me. But they do great stuff, and Luke Gearing obviously writes great stuff, and David Hoskins obviously draws great stuff. So all of that together comes up to Swivers, an urban heist role-playing game you can listen to. We're not going to go over it too much here because we literally, as we just said, had a whole episode where we talked to Luke and David here on the show about the project, went deep into it. But go back this. It's got 6 days left. This is an urban heist role-playing game. It is a game of heist and intrigue through the foggy streets of the smoke. It is a very British, you're just some fucking bastard in a city stealing stuff, and it's amazing. The system is super light, and then there's just so much flavor and just a fuckload of tables and other stuff. You can download the quick start right now from the Melsonian itch page. So definitely go do that. But if you haven't heard of Luke Gearing, that I would be absolutely surprised if you're watching our show and don't know who they are. Wolves Upon the Coast, Acid Death Fantasy, Gradient Descent from Mothership, Fever Swamp for Melsonian. I mean, just amazing stuff from them. And David Hoskins has done some fantastic artwork. He has like the covers for the new OSC box sets. Black Knights, which Luke Gearing and David Hoskins worked on together. Just a bunch of amazing, fantastic art. Back this project. This is not one to miss. This is going to be, I think, one of the highlights for the year as far as fun games that you're going to get to play that are really well done and really flavorful. So super excited for this. It's only at like $80,000, which is,
just a goal. Was the goal was like 2,500. I can't see the screen right now, but
yeah, it was £2,000,
right?
And they're at like £62,000, but we're American, so
we use freedom dollars, brother.
American, yeah. Anyway, project. It's cool as fuck. Download the quick start, and then you're gonna come back and get the book. Trust me. It's really cool. So, other stuff. Let's talk about this one. Really excited for this. So this is Miru, aka Miru 3, an analog defense game. Defend your village from an onslaught of machines as an AI god attempts to unalive you in this solo hex crawling adventure. This is a wrap up of Miru. This is obviously Miru 3, as I said. Miru 1 and Miru 2 are fantastic. I actually have them right here in this box.
Oh.
And what's great about this project, let me just stick this box back in here with that stuff in the other box back. As we scroll down a little bit here, this is from Hinakoto. It is a solo game. It is a solo defense game, as I said, where you protect your village. If you have Miru 1 or Miru 2, you're obviously going to get Miru 3 because they're fantastic. If you don't have them already, guess what? You can get them all in this project, and I highly recommend it. And not only that, some of the stuff you can get in this current project, guess what? A box. You need a box that'll hold all your Miru stuff.
Ooh, we love a good box.
Yeah, we love a good box. And not only that, this project comes with 2 different kinds of boxes that you can actually get. So there is the box with a magnetic lid and everything that will hold all things Miru. And then there's also this cards and coins box where it is a 54 card deck that you can use in multiple games. It's coins in different denominations that you can different games, and cardboard cutouts or like punch outs in it all come in a box too. So basically it's just like a bonus box of tokens and cards and stuff that you can use for other systems too. And it also comes in its own box. So you can get double boxed up in this one.
2 boxes.
Yeah. Very excited for it. Because I was already thinking about, damn, I already have 2 of them and all the stuff that comes with it. I need a box for it. And then when this dropped, I didn't need to get one because it's come with a box. So the award-winning Miru begins the story in 2125. I'm actually not gonna read the entire story. It's great. It's designed to be a solo experience. You can scale it up to any number of players and do it co-op. You can get the physical editions, as I said, of Miru 1 and 2 discounted. And the digital editions are on itch right now too. But highly recommend this. If you like solo play, they're both fantastic. And then you get all of the hex kits that go in the second one.
The stuff is cool.
Yeah, the hex stuff is great. There's a 3-panel player board. There's trackers that come with it. There's cardboard trackers. I mean, they're going hard on like the stuff for this game, and I'm all for it. This is definitely a game that you want the stuff for. So
I think it's like the if or correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the first two didn't have as much of an emphasis on stuff, and it's like your third. Go ahead.
well, there was some stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
like there was not as much as this, not even close. But like there's like the first one, you could get like a bag of stuff like dice and tokens and stuff like that. There's like a pin that came with it. At one point, like there was like pins, like enamel pins and stuff. But yes, way more stuff in this one. Yeah, I got all that.
Yeah. I think like, when you're 3 projects into a successful series, that's a great time to focus on or shift more focus onto the stuff. We often talk about like you don't need a lot of peripherals if you're doing a project, especially if it's your first project. You should just put out a book and not worry about a bunch of crazy stretch goal shit. But this is a great one to be like, hey, there's all this other stuff,
No, it's cool. There actually was at one point too the mini disc. You get like a mini disc. Of course, I got it. I'll never own a thing that lets me play mini discs, but I got it. Yeah. You never saw that?
No. What the fuck?
Hey. Oh yeah, right here. Miru soundtrack, the mini disc.
Oh my god, we have to find something that plays a mini disc.
Well, you don't even need to, because guess what? In this project, you can actually get this as a CD or just get the digital soundtrack for it. But yeah, if you open this bad boy up, there's a bunch of extras, of course, because that's how the indie scene rocks. And then look at that. Boom. A mini disc.
Wow. I mean, that is actually super cool. You gotta wonder why mini disc it was never a bigger format, because it visually looks real cool,
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, I feel like mini discs and laser discs were like very close to becoming things, and then both pretty quickly went away. But I don't know if it's
something
just
on Laserdisc before.
Yeah. The last thing I watched on Laserdisc, I think, was like a science video in class or something.
That's exactly what I was watching, actually.
Yeah. So but anyway, so you can get the mini disc of or the CD of that soundtrack as well. So as what's on the screen, you can get the Miru digital is only $5, which is crazy. Physical is only $15. You can get the entire Miru hex kit. You can get, which is $30. You can get the entire cards and coins box, which is another $30. And then you can add on any of the individual zines and all of those things, the mini disc, all that stuff. It's great. Go to the Kickstarter page here, read the story of Miru, get the rest of them. They're really great. I mean, you can get all 3 digitally for like $10 each, so you can get the entire set physical for like $35, and if you want to go digital, you can get it for even cheaper. So it's worth it, trust me. Fantastic work, and a really great game. Anyway, so that's Miru 3, the wrap up, the final Miru. Last one, Castle Elkenstone.
Stoked for this one.
Super stoked for this one. Yeah, I saw something on it, and then you said today, hey, have you seen that? And I was like, fuck yeah, I saw that. I backed the shit out of that.
Yeah.
This is actually a game that I want to do on the show sometime. But this is for Advanced Dungeon Goons from Jacob Fleming. Oh, I gotta show the dice too.
Oh yeah, I got maybe better. I kept it in the fucking little pack.
Okay, well, I have a question for you. If this one's opened, do you think this is the only one that I have?
No, there's no way it's the one we have.
No, of course, I have an unopened one behind me.
I just like the presentation of this was amazing.
Oh, it's fantastic. So for those that can't see it, literally comes in like, it looks like a toy you would pull off like the metal like slide thingy at like the store, like Walmart or Target or some shit. So it's got like a cardboard topper, and then it's like in a plastic bag, and it's got this little zine, and 2 dice, 4 character sheets, an adventure in it, like a risograph printed adventure. Anyway, so that's for Advanced Dungeon Goons, which is a hack of Nate Dream's Tunnel Goons.
which I also love.
I would punch a baby for an original Dungeon Goons instead of the advanced one. I just never been able to find one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess I've never even gone looking for one. So
Yeah, it's cool though. Yeah, I mean, I have the PDF, but I don't have the original one. So this is Castle Elkinstone, a horror scenario for Advanced Dungeon Goons. So it's got 6 days left. It only dropped not long ago. Like it's only been out for like a week. This is a short 14 day.
Really short run. So
yeah, which is fine. I mean, it already backed it. They wanted $1,750. They're at $3,500. But again, I highly recommend it. Dungeon Goons is definitely one of those games that I would use to intro people to role playing. I mean, Tunnel Goons is fantastic, and Dungeon Goons just kind of tweaks it a slight bit. And plus, Jacob Fleming does fantastic work. So anyway, so what is this? In the outer reach of the forest provinces, it's a backwater governed by a reclusive and much feared baron, Lord Bosgnanath Jacquir. The region and its population are minuscule and often disregarded or forgotten by the ruling elite of the greater provinces. With very little which to trade, Valkanguri has fallen into obscurity. If you travel there, one in countless others may return. Those that have say nothing of the barony, its frigid landscape, or of its few inhabitants. They come back out of the cold, haunted by a memory. Raving and wide-eyed, the muttering traveler looks deep into the menacing antlered flames of the fiery tavern hearth. They're incoherent, their words are indiscernible. At last, with trembling breath, the traveler manages 2 words: Castle Elkinstone. So, yeah, right? Crazy.
I know. Yeah, really suspenseful there.
Yeah, Castle Elkinstone is an adventure scenario for Advanced Dungeon Goons, which is a hack of Tunnel Goons. Obviously, you can just use it in Tunnel Goons. It's a remote village. There's a vile murder has been committed with disturbing implications. The abbot has gone mad, etc., etc. It's inspired by the Amityville Horror, The Exorcist, Evil Dead, and all distilled down into a lightweight system. So obviously, I mean, Jacob Fleming's art is dope as fuck. Dungeon Goons is fantastic. And then obviously, you know, Tunnel Goons is one of the best games ever.
I do love Tunnel Goons.
Yeah. Get anything Nate Treem. Go back their Patreon. Get their book. So yeah, great project. Obviously it's going to be lightweight because the system's super lightweight, but with the add-ons, you can actually add on some of the Dungeon Goons that we talked about. You can get just the book by itself, or you can get the whole set. I wanted to get like 5 more, but you can only get one of the pouches at a time. I think they're available on Exalted right now, but they're much more expensive on Exalted, or maybe they're the same price. I think they're $12. Anyway, looks super cool. Really excited for this. The fact that they're continuing to put out stuff for Dungeon Goons makes me super happy, and I hope they keep doing it. So the last one is a deck of Dungeons and Treasures, deck-based procedural dungeon generator for RPGs compatible with Mausritter. This is from Antonio. I'm going to say Book. This person right here, Antonio. So over on Crowdfunder, it is funded. It is at almost 700 euros of a €100 goal. Explore a random dungeon each time you play with this deck-based dungeon generator. Shuffle the deck and step into the unknown. So this project is a small zine that will let you play adventures in dangerous places with no prep. An experience both surprising and quick. Just what you need when you're playing solo or with the Game Master. So it is a streamlined zine where you lay out cards that will become your dungeon map, and each time you find a new room, you reveal its cards and roll 2 4-sided dice to know with which other rooms it is connected. So it's a really cool like streamlined system for solo play, building your dungeon, populating it, all that kind of stuff. You can also use it for Mausritter, Lilliputian, upcoming Beetle Knight. The Beetle Knight definitely gives me Mausritter vibes, and I'm super excited for that. We talked to the creator of that on the show, and really excited for that. So it's a really cool project. It has how many days left on it? 11 days left. So definitely go check that out. I will say, my goodness, Antonio, the background. the cards in the background just it hurts me. Maybe a darker color or something, but trying to read this, it breaks my brain a little bit. But the project seems really, really neat. I want to do more solo play, and I love mouse shooters, so something like this is really cool. I think the base cost for you can get the PDF for only €3.
That is
but if you
good.
Right, if you want to get like the regular, the whole thing, the 8-page Zima setting, does it come with that? I'll create your own setting. It's like more adventures, only €2. What is going on here? Is it all PDF only? Am I going crazy? Core settings rules is $3. More adventure is $2. Yeah. Anyway, it's a cool looking project. My brain is breaking. It's a deck of Dungeons and Treasures. Definitely go back that. We'll make sure the link is below. And it's also nice to see more projects on Crowdfunder. I'm hoping to see more and more of that as we progress. Yeah.
I, for one, have not used Crowdfunder at all. Actually, I've barely been on there until this. Actually,
I backed it. I think Grandmothership from Armando was on there. I backed the Ritual Magic for Besties from Kill It Dice is on there. Archiver is a cool project we didn't get to talk about. Archiver was a cool mothership project that that was over on Crowdfunder, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's cool. It's nice to see not Kickstarter, which is definitely
that is very cool. Yeah.
All right. Let me make myself a little note quick. So I remember to do something. And let's go to our game of the day. We're going to be talking about Vermhack. Very excited for this. This is one we both love and that you've wanted to talk about for a while. And this was a good time to talk about it.
Yeah. I think we got it like immediately when it came out.
Instantaneously. Yeah, I got like 3 copies.
I think it was, yeah.
It just, first of all, anything for Feral Indie Studio is great. I literally, I moved it, but I have everything. The Vast in the Dark and everything. Fantastic. Art's fantastic. Writing's fantastic. Cess and Citadel, and all that stuff are really great. So, but also, the artist, the art is fantastic. And the colors on that kind of chartreusey green. Got some pop.
Right.
What is Vermhack? Yeah. Vermhack is from Feral Indie Studio, which is Charles Ferguson Avery and Alex Coggin. This Vermhack originally it's a small scale fantasy war game with role-playing elements of Dungeons and Decrepitude. It originally dropped on April 20th, 2023. An update to it came out July 18th, 2023. It is over on itch. There are 2 expansions for it already outlined, and they are supposed to drop sometime after Feral Indie Studio wraps up Ave Nox, which is a mega dungeon project that they're working on. You can get it in print on the website of Feral Indie Studio for $14 right now. And if you want to get it in PDF, what does it cost over there right now?
On their itch?
Yeah.
It just had it up. I apologize. Bad coast. It is. Name your own price. So.
Oh yeah, name your own price, because they were doing like an itch funding thing for it. It reached over the $1,000 goal. So, yeah. So definitely go snag that. You can play it for free, but also if you have the money, support the creator. Give them money. It's worth it. So. We talked a little bit about, we've talked numerous times about this because there's a lot of like downloads for this. There's the original version.
Right.
And then the creator put out like an SRD like immediately for it. And then they did the update a couple months later. So there's a second version of the like press print version like this. And then there's another SRD that adds doubles the amount of content but is in development. It's content that they've written, that they put into the SRD2.
I don't know that
but
you can still
hasn't-
get the original release digital copy from the itch. I think it's the new updated one.
I think all you get is a new updated one. So
Yeah.
so we have all of the original stuff, but if you get it now, what you'll get is the updated SRD and the updated content. We're going to talk about the differences between the two, because there's like a couple small differences and then one major difference that is our point of contention.
And I have an opinion.
between-
Yeah, I'm just saying I have an
yeah.
opinion about it. So
We don't often have opinions here on the show,
Yeah,
but today we do.
It's really usually an
Um,
opinion-free show.
Yeah, all facts. No spin.
No feelings.
Yeah. So Vermhack, first of all, the cover, again, it's black and white in the print, and it gives you the front and back as one. Makes it easy to print it yourself, I guess, but
Yeah.
the cover's dope. Fantasy wargaming of Dungeons and Decrepitude. The world is dying, and from its corpse spill vermin. And you wonder why we back this immediately? I mean, could you write a game that's more for me? Wargaming with RPG elements about like decrepitude and corpses?
It's funny because I looked, so I bought the physical and I bought the digital on itch when they were doing the itch funding. So I've paid for this twice now.
Yep. So yeah, I have up here this is the cover. Again, it gives you the front and the back. Those in podcast land, just look up the cover. It's gorgeous. The art from Charlie is fantastic.
It's really nice.
There is the like actual, press release, like print version of the game. There's a digital version, there's print version, there's an SOD version, there's, like I said, there's a bunch. And then there's the, like I said, in development Vermhack SRD. I love the little dude here hammering at the picture, like working on it and stuff like that. So we're gonna mostly go over the quote unquote official content of the second release, talk about how it differs from the first, and maybe touch on a little bit of the SRD stuff. But we're not going to go over a bunch of the SRD stuff because who knows, it might not even make it into the game, even though there's some cool stuff to it. So so the verminous hack, Vermhack. The world is dying, and from its corpse spill vermin. This is a small-scale war game with role-playing elements. Players take on the role of a single or band of characters who explore, fight, and survive in a dark, fantastical land. It is meant to be compatible with most old-school game modules and war game-style scenarios. So it's kind of in the same realm as like Forbidden Psalm.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like it's
a little
skirmish gamey, but you could totally play it I would just play it as an RPG. I would just play it as a straight RPG.
That's what we did, because my group played this. We did one adventure in it, and yeah, we didn't. I don't often do gritty combat unless like I'm playing something that like Tacticians of Alm, like you miss that, you're gonna miss the whole game if you don't use a grid, But yeah, this one we didn't use a grid for, and I think it worked great.
Yeah. I love this style of games that are like war gamey but have those RPG elements where you can play it as an RPG, and if you want to use the war game bits, it gives you a different kind of feeling in combat. It's nice to kind of have two game modes almost to an extent, because so combat feels like combat and out of combat feels like you're out of combat. Not all the time, but like exactly for this, I think this is perfect for it. So, and I love that there's an option to do solo as literally one character, solo as a band of characters, or as a group of like people playing one character. So that's cool. What you need, RPG stuff, dice, scale and distance, multiples of 5 feet. So 1 inch, 5 feet, blah, 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 blah. Right. The whole thing's about 20 pages. And let's just get into it. So, first of all, we can't not talk about the art. I mean, it's all Charlie, and it's all fucking amazing. It's vibey as hell.
Really very good. Very vibey.
My goodness. Like, this is one of those, Charlie, goddamn you, is one of those people who are not only like game writers, but also amazing artists. So, you can have amazing art in your stuff as much as you want because you do it yourself. So fuck you for that. But I mean, also it's good. Great piece on the second page of this like weird tree full of skulls that's got like a corpse in the upper branches. It's like rotting away. And some nice vibey writing. Scoundrel, cutthroat, beggar, bastard. You are a desperate soul who scours a life in the blood and cursed corners of this world, with only your flesh, wits, and tools to help you. How far will you push yourself to survive? Again,
Mm-hmm.
this game was literally written for me. Can't ask for much more. So, so you are Vermin. I'll go through the traits and then we'll kick over to you for a lot of this because I know you've read it and played it a lot more. So
Yeah.
characters created in Vermhack have the following characteristics listed on the sheet. Their level, which is your overall strength used to determine additional vitality actions bonus to certain roles. Your vitality, which is the amount of physical harm you can suffer before being knocked out or killed. Strain, which is different. Yeah, I think it was originally called, what was it originally called?
Stamina.
This is such a good change.
It's the good change.
Yeah. So the reason why it says the amount of physical or mental exertion a character has undertaken. If your strain is greater than your vitality, your character is knocked out and gains a scar. So stamina
Sounds like it's a good thing, right? Like you have stamina, right? But like, yeah, it's like a meter that you build from like pushing yourself or like, I think casting sorcery or whatever. So strain, great change. Very, very appropriate.
Yeah.
The moment I read that, I'm like, man, that's better. You're right.
It's perfect. Yeah. Stamina always felt a little bit off, and I can only assume that that's why they immediately changed it to strain. Because, like you said, stamina feels like it's this thing that I have that I get to spend, as opposed to it's like basically a stress system. So strain, and it's more vibey. And also, hey, hi, Charles Ferguson Avery in their chat. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello.
You have strength, which is measure of your physical strength, constitution, and resilience, used for melee, inventory capacity, feats of strength, resisting poison, etc., etc. Dexterity is dexterity. It's agility, range attacks, etc. Wisdom. I mean, a lot of this stuff you played games before. This isn't new. Wisdom is wisdom. It's mental fortitude. It's used for casting spells, finding secrets, etc. You have your background, which are words or phrases that grant the character a bonus on rolls. And then you have traits, which are boons and maladies gained from succeeding or suffering over the course of play. So that is all the stuff that'll be on your character sheet. I love this page. I like this kind of breakdown of like, these are the things that you'll see. Now let's talk about it. I think it's a really good way to kind of give you, you know how I always say, like, I really want a little bit of intro before we go right into the system. I think this is a great thing to have right before you jump into character creation to give you a little overall of what you're gonna get. So character creation, talk to me about that.
Character creation. So easy 7-step process, also numbered steps. Shout out numbered steps to character creation, always a good choice. Rolling vitality, you start with a d6, as all good vitality systems or health systems work. You start with 0 strain. You pick a background, or actually, sorry, I got ahead. You roll your strength, dex, and wisdom stats. You roll 4 d6 and discard the highest, and assign each of the remaining values to an individual stat. So if you roll a 4, a 2, a 2, and a 2, and you get rid of the 4, and you have a 2 strength, a 2 dex, and 2 wisdom. I actually have a flip on that we did at our table, but we might get to that later because it has to do with something else. Past that, background, you can pick from the fun list to the right a background, or you can make one up yourself. And pretty much anytime you can reference your background, you may add your level to the roll. So just a little bonus for a little narrative backing. The backgrounds, Ryan, why don't you roll 2d6 for a background, actually? Because there's pretty much not a bad one. They're all pretty good. Yeah. But they're good as in like some are awful for you, and then some are great.
Yeah, they got 2 and a 4 for 6.
So 2 and a 4. So you're a frenzied prisoner. So whenever you can reference being a frenzied prisoner, you're gonna get like,
Wait. How did you?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm a dumb idiot. Not you. You said a 2 and a 4.
An indomitable gong farmer.
An indomitable gong farmer. What's a gong farmer?
I don't know what gong is. It might be an in-world thing, and my brain might just be breaking. privy.
You're a shit farmer. Gotcha. Which that makes amazing sense for this game and setting. Yeah. So you pick your background.
I also real quick, I love the way that they do the 2d6 for the thing. Like you literally, it's 1d6 and another d6 and like 1 through 3. So I think there is still a typo on this. I could be wrong, but it says 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 5 through 6. I don't. I feel like there was another spot where that was fixed. Maybe it was fixed in the SRD. But
I didn't even notice that. Is it that like that in my physical? Let's see.
My thought would be it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's definitely in the physical because we have the print of the physical. Well, we have the original version.
So that's there. Next, you're gonna pick a pick or randomly select
I'm gonna
starting traits. So you're gonna pick or randomly select one boon and one scar or mutation. What are you gonna say?
They do fix it in the SRD, so that is an error in this, and that in the newest in dev part it is fixed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So you're gonna pick or randomly select one boon and one scar or mutation. Mutations in this are sick. So are the scars actually, and so are the boons. Very flavorful stuff. And then inventory, you have inventory equal to your strength +1, which is not that many inventory slots, which is cool. And then starting equipment, you pick or randomly select one weapon, one tool, and one piece of armor. Alternatively, you can just get rid of tools and armor and begin with a spellbook or fealty to a deity, because there is both a like magic, like a sorceress magic, and then kind of like a miraculous magic as well. Each party of characters begins with a rundown camp at the edge of civilization, 3 days of rations between them, and someone or something that is looking for them. Very cool little fire starter there for your first kind of group. It's like immediately they are low on food and stuff, and something is coming for them for one reason or another. And then for advancement rules, each time a character survives an adventure, they gain a level. You roll d6 plus level for vitality. Use new value unless the old value is higher. You can gain +1 to strength, dex, or whiz, and you may gain 1 random mutation. And then there's this good little art piece at the bottom right of the I like the little witchy wizardy person at the front who's like kind of bent over, you know,
like all hunched over and stuff. Yeah. It's interesting. The advancement, it's like a lot. Like you advance relatively quickly. You get level, more vitality, more of your core stats, and a mutation like every time you advance.
Yeah, I mean, I killed a character in our one adventure very easily. So
yeah, I'd be curious, like at what point do you feel like you're not gonna die like pretty instantly? Like at what point of like level and vitality and stuff did you feel good?
The cool thing about the vitality is it's very self-regulating, right? Like it's always just a d6 plus your level. Mm-hmm. And so like that could, I mean, you could go multiple levels and your health not go up at all.
Very true.
And then when it does go up, like frankly, it might just be like an insignificant amount. I mean, like really, like if you're level 3, a d6 plus 3, the highest you're gonna get is 9, but you're probably not gonna get 9. Probably gonna get like 7, which it is better, possibly. But yeah, I wonder what like it long term.
I like it. I like, especially because it reminds me of Merkborg a little bit, where like you could literally start with like 1, or you could get lucky and get like 5 or 6. You know what I mean? It's like if you happen to get that high 6, like you could literally be the one person with like 9 vitality while everyone else in your group has like 1 or 2, and you'll probably still be the first one to die. That's what happened to me.
Yeah. So boons, scars, and mutations. You want to both of us roll a boon, a scar, and a mutation?
Yeah. So 2d6 for each.
Yeah, 2d6 for each.
I'm just gonna roll 66 and
that's exactly what I did. So my first for boon, I got Unchained Berserker. When attacking in melee, deal light damage to everyone within range, friend or foe.
Dope. I got So I got 6 and 6. So that takes me all the way down to the Paranoid Fanatic.
Oh
Gain
wow.
2 daily favor, capital F, for miracles instead of 1. Destroy any spellbook that you find, and you cannot hold audience with rival faiths.
That's a pretty
Nice.
good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some other good ones from this. I liked the Wretched Godling. I think it's interesting. You don't die, but every time that you do die, you basically go down one level, if possible, and then you gain a scar. So like honestly, and the scars can get pretty bad. It's like your legs and stuff are gone, or you're missing eyes, so you could just be an immortal, just like complete amputee.
Yeah.
And it's like really pretty genuinely
Yeah.
dark. Speaking of
Blind, deaf,
scars,
paralyzed. Yeah, everything.
yeah.
Crazy.
What'd you roll for a scar?
Oh, so I did 6-6. My next one was 5-3. So this one's only a 1 to 3 and a 4 to 6. So 5, 3 nightmares. You only heal 1 vitality from resting. That sucks.
I rolled a 6 and a 6, so I got violent. Roll wisdom at the start of combat. Otherwise, you charge blindly towards the nearest opponent.
Nice.
But yeah, missing eyes, cool. Destroyed leg. I mean, just imagine playing the character who cannot die, but instead of dying, it's just punishing. Moving on to mutations, and mutations are like such a cool part. Like this is also, you get mutations when you level up. There is like, it's same kind of thing. There's some kind of like negative trade-off to a lot of these, but they are like overwhelmingly good. What did you get for your mutation?
I rolled a 1 and a 2, so that gives me blind, milky eyes emerge from under my skin.
Really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. It's so I think 1, 2 on all of the rolls are the ones that are not like they give you nothing, just something weird and flavorful.
It's
I rolled
vibey.
2, 5. So I got vampire. You need only eat once a week, but your body can only sustain itself on fresh blood. You must sup from the corpse of a freshly slain mortal or beast to feed your hunger. Very cool one.
Yeah.
I was hoping to roll Locus of Sorcery, which is when you cast sorceries, they don't cost strain, which is what you build for casting sorceries. But if you do fail the sorcery roll, every fail is a critical fail.
I love that. All or nothing.
Yeah, it's really like the boons and mutations are really good about being like, here's like a positive thing, but also like this whole game's very horrifying. It's very like grim. And they were like, yeah, cool. You have a cool thing. You're powerful. Oh, also there's an awful like second part to it.
Yeah. The boons, the scars, and mutations are really what make the game. I mean, the rest of it is all mechanics that you've pretty much seen elsewhere. But the way that, especially like the boons, kind of give you, because there's no classes, right? Like, but what the boons do really is give you a little bit of that, where you get like one small like mechanical thing that kind of helps define your character a little bit. But there's also fucking vibey, and like you said, the scars, especially the mutations. I mean, you could like, what did you have? You had the Unchained Berserker that was violent and a violent vampire, and my guy was I don't even remember what I was. What was I? Oh, the Paranoid Fanatic that had nightmares and blind milky eyes like emerging under my skin, like that. Like so good, so vibey, so fantastic. Like perfectly fits this idea of like, the world's a corpse full of vermin, and guess what? So are you. So
I'm
good.
trying to think of what my player character's role, but honestly, like this came out and I must have played it like immediately. Like, so it's been a year since we did our adventure in this game. I mean, it was fun, but yeah, there's a lot of potential for weird, grim hijinks.
Yeah,
moving on. Tools. This is one of the things you can start with. Tools allow a character to perform a task they would otherwise be incapable of, or allow them to successfully bypass a role that they would normally make. Tools typically take up 1 inventory space. Large or cumbersome tools can take up 2. Remember that you have like fairly limited inventory in this game. I believe it is strength +1.
Yeah.
Is it strength +1? Am I right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was strength +1. Yeah.
We're both a little sleepy today, so I'm almost instantly forgetting what we're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah, there's some example tools. You guys know what a tool is: a torch, grappling hook,
Yeah.
the 11-foot pole.
Yeah.
Armor. Each piece of armor takes up 2 inventory slots when hit with a weapon. Subtract 1 damage for each piece of unbroken armor in the inventory, or sacrifice 1 piece of armor to negate all damage from a single hit. Armor sacrificed or broken is not removed from inventory. Instead, it is considered broken and provides no benefits unless repaired. So you can just wear broken armor for a while.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like this system of armor because it's like soak, but also kind of inventory management. Like you don't get a lot of inventory, so you never get to carry like a shitload of armor. But I like the idea that it's like, okay, you have like, a pauldron and you have like some leg armor and stuff like that. But like, so that gives you what, 1, 2, 3 armor that you can soak. But if you're gonna get something beyond that, you can just be like, fuck it, it hits my pauldron breaks, but I take nothing. Like I really like the armor. I love soak, but I also love the idea of like sundering it to do whatever. It's nice and clean, especially like a war game like this. This is such a nice way to do it. But also, I love simple but fun inventory management, and that's definitely a big part of it.
I love me an inventory mini game. So trading. Gold and coin have little value in the rotted world. Each time you trade with a merchant or other, roll to determine what they can or are willing to trade. Trades are at a weight or a like basis. Tools for 1 armor, 1 spellbook for 1 spellbook, etc. It's mostly a barter system. Like it's essentially a barter system.
Love it.
Yeah. So circling back to my Between Two Fires, we played a Between Two Fires themed adventure in Vermhack because I thought it was like very cool and similar to we did like a demonic plague ridden France.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and so it was perfect for like the bartering thing because you come across people in a plague ridden land who like have nothing and the world around them is dying and they're like, I don't know if I can give this to you because I need this, but if you have that, I'll lend you this,
I say that all the time about lists of costs and stuff, that like why? Because guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. It's capitalism, right? It costs what it costs. Like it costs what you need, right? Like if you need water in the desert, it's going to cost way more than if you need water by a river. Like, so giving me a list of costs makes no sense. And I wish more systems were like this, where it's just straight barter. And I love the idea that it's like a like for like, or 1 up, 1 down, like whatever. Like it makes sense. I like it. And I also think that auto gives RP opportunities.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, that costs 2, you're like, all right, here you go 2. Now now you get to barter for it.
Yeah. I did cause my player characters to rob somebody because they were so frustrated that they wouldn't trade with them, and they were better armed than this person. And you're in like plague-ridden France. I'm like, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
100.
Weapons. I love the weapon damage system here because it's 1 die, and I live for that. So unarmed is just 1 damage. You have light, standard, and heavy. So a light weapon takes up an inventory slot and does D6 at disadvantage damage. Pardon me. A standard weapon takes up 2 slots and does D6 damage. A heavy weapon takes up 3 slots and does D6 at advantage damage. Each weapon has an ability, which is a very, very cool way to dress up a very simple damage system for weapons, and a critical. The other cool thing about this, and we'll get into weapon abilities, is that like it leaves a lot of room for you to make your own weapons. And give them the abilities. They're very simple. Range weapons require ammunition to fire, which takes up an inventory slot. If more than 1 shot is fired in an encounter, the ammunition is removed at the end of the encounter. Range weapons do not have a range unless specified. It is assumed they can reach most targets within line of sight. Thank you for making that rule simple. That's great, and it makes perfect sense. And so when you're creating your character, you do roll up a weapon, and this is like here you can roll up a weapon. And do you want to roll a weapon, Ryan?
Sure, I'll roll a weapon, and then we can talk about. So I need 1, so 4d6. So D6, I rolled a 4, so my weapon weight is standard. 2d6 weapon ability, I rolled a 6 and a 6, so I got black powder, my favorite.
Oh, you love black powder weapons,
Yeah, let's
buddy.
fuck up.
You got gold goggles on too, and they're like they're bronze colored, and they got green lenses.
And then my weapon critical is a 5, so it's repel. So we'll get into what the heck repel is
almost immediately. So
yeah. I will say quick before we move on, what are your thoughts on the way that they wrote up the D6, bracket minus, D6 bracket plus thing?
I'm actually into that. So there's a little cipher at the bottom, on the bottom right. That's like, hey, listed as plus or minus. Is like, I mean, I think it's more concise than, and I think more like stylish to look at. Maybe that's not the right term for what I'm looking for. I like it. I'm going to use it. So
I guess my thought is, maybe if more weapons are listed in the future, or maybe it's for like future ciphering and stuff, because realistically, there's this box that takes up space on the thing explaining this little cipher for it to be used in 1-2 areas of the rule set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it could easily have just been D6 bracket ADV, D6 bracket dis ADV. I guess my thought is like, what, like it feels like an extra step to say something. I'm not disliking it. I just think it's an interesting choice, unless you're gonna run into it a lot.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weapon abilities and criticals.
Weapon abilities. Yes, your weapons have ability. And they're pretty cool. The combat is like, this is a war game. And the weapon abilities definitely add a layer to it. Most of them you can use them and you gain strain. What's the weapon ability that you got?
I got black powder.
Oh yeah, so yours deals plus D6 damage. You make range attacks and require black powder ammo. It can only be fired once per turn, and reloading takes an action. And during that one action, you spin your cane with like a golden eagle's head on it, and you like tip your top hat. It has cogs on it because Ryan loves steampunk. There is a misfire rule for black powder. Damages wielder when an unsuccessful double is rolled. Yeah, so light's 1 damage, standards damage as light. So you take less damage than like feasibly the weapon would give.
So my question is, deals plus D6 damage. What does that mean to you?
Deals an extra D6 of damage.
So you think it's 2d6?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
And then that first D6 is either at advantage or disadvantage, because you can have a light, standard, or heavy black powder weapon.
Right. I had the standard, so it's like, so it would just be like a flat D6 plus D6.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're cool. I mean, there's 12 different weapon abilities?
Yes. And it's either like, when this happens, you can do this, or you can take 1 strain to do this. And it's a very clean system. It's honestly so basic. And works so well that like you could sit here and write out 10 more pretty easily for your own like weird and crazy weapons for whatever you're playing. And then the weapon criticals are like, it's almost like your special when you do hit a crit. Yours was repel, which means you may disengage from your opponent, or because this is a war game, disengaging is a thing, or push your opponent out of melee range.
Interesting. So I have the black powder gun, so if something's like up in my business, I could shoot it and it moves away from me after it gets shot. I like how they all mix and match together well.
That is pretty cool. Sunder's pretty cool. You can just break 1 piece of the opponent's armor. Otherwise, they gain 1 strain. And then bleed, classic. But there's room for like so much creativity in this,
I love the Sunder one. The Sunder one's really interesting because of the way that armor works, where like you can choose to have 1 break to do whatever. But this one, you're literally saying, I shoot you. It doesn't seem like for the crit, it's not going to do like a bonus damage or anything, but like literally either you get strain, or I just break one of your armor pieces. And I love that, like the reaching into someone else's inventory management a little bit to just be like, boom, I'm gonna break that shit. So I dig it.
Yeah, very cool thing to the game, and in often when I'm playing like simple tabletop role playing games that have that like kind of D6 damage system, I'm like, can I add weapon abilities into this somehow and just like dress it up? But yeah.
This is such a great way to do it. Yeah. And the 12 things that they pick really cover the gamut of like the things
absolutely.
you want, like pierce, throw, weighted, brace, range. Like there's still definitely room for more, but like as far as like if you just pick a weapon, like any weapon off the top of your head, like it's in here. You know what I mean? Like it's not hard to even black powder.
Even black powder. He says they're gritted teeth.
So playing the game, I love the font that they pick for this too, because like a lot of black letter fonts aren't very readable, and I feel like this one is pretty readable.
I absolutely agree, and I think it holds up in the book as well, or in the actual physical zine as well.
And they keep it to headers.
Really nice.
They keep it to headers. There's no black letter font in the actual writing of the book, which is great. So rolling dice, I think, is the next big change that we're going to have a discussion about.
This is the change we're going to have a discussion about because I feel a type of way. Do you want to read this? Or read it?
Yeah, I'll go through this. So first of all, rolling dice during play, a character attempts a task where the outcome is risky or uncertain. They may roll 3d6 and add the value of the appropriate trait to overcome it. A value of 12 or greater is considered a success. A success or failure with doubles is considered a critical and critical failure, respectively. 6/6 is always success. 1/1 is always a failure. Originally, the game, what did it say? Was it 2d6 and you had to get 12 or higher?
Originally, yes.
Yeah.
On 12 or higher.
And that's basically fucking impossible. Like the traits are not that much more. It was difficult. You've actually played it. Did you play it when it was 2d6?
So we played it. So this was more than one session that we played our adventure. The first session we played, when you roll your stats, you drop the highest, and then and then you roll 2d6 plus that. There was a lot of failure in my game, but there was also a lot of success. But there was a lot of failure. And so the second session, they re-rolled their stats, and I had them drop the lowest stat, and it made a noticeable difference in my game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I like really brutal games, and I think of the first session there was a lot of failure. In the second session there was like an acceptable amount of failure. But now it's 3d6, which if you do the math, right, the 3d6 is a bell curve, and the bell's highest point is 11. So statistically, like, you're really going to be rolling very close to that area most of the time.
So I think when we go to the SRD, I do think, because I think the SRD came out a little bit after, and I wanted to see if it matches up, or if they kind of like, because I think they streamlined a little bit of the stuff a little bit in the SRD one. I think maybe it's just wording. So yeah, a success or failure with doubles, because my thought, and especially on reading this, is like, oh, it still says with doubles, but like, so it's 3d6,
right?
And then you get crits on doubles, but there's 3 dice,
right?
So you have to have like 2 of them match, right?
Right.
I just feel like this is, and tell me your thoughts on it, inelegant. I feel like it's bad math. Yeah,
it's a little clunky. This is definitely where it falls off for me. I was very like, I totally get that when it was 2d6 to hit a 12 plus your stat, that was a really hard point to hit. But I don't like this as much, honestly.
So so the problem with 2d6 mathematically, here we go. So talking to we obviously love 2d6 games. I love 2d6 games. And there are a lot of 2d6 games that aren't mixed success. They just have like a flat number.
Right.
The thing that reminds me most of this is like Best Left Berry, like Orbital Blues, like 2d6. Well, that one you get like, so if you're going to do 3d6, like you're rolling 3 dice to hit a value of 12, right?
Yeah.
And originally it was 2d6 to hit a value of 12. But the average, I mean, I know there's bell curve, right?
Yeah.
But the average of a d6 is what? 3.
3 and
right?
point something. Yeah.
Yes, basically 3. So like my curiosity was like, if you have 2d6 to hit a 12, so they add another d6 to get to a 12. My immediate thought in my head is like, so that's, let's say in dumb math, because I know the spell curves, fuck off math people, right? You're adding possibly another 3 points on average to a die roll, but making someone roll 3d6. Why not just reduce difficulty by 3?
I was about to say, is like, yeah, I mean, almost just like take it to 10.
2d9.
2d6 to hit 10. I mean, honestly, man, like, I mean, they had a hard time hitting 12 session 1, but once I let them reroll stats and drop the lowest, it did make a little bit of difference, but they were able to drop like 1s and 2s and stuff instead of dropping like a 5 or a 6. And they were hitting 12s, not every roll and not even necessarily every other, but they were hitting them like they had success. They killed the monster, you know?
But instead of, so you said that worked by letting them drop the lowest stat. So if you don't do the lowest stat thing,
right?
And again, the numbers in D6 systems often are like 3s and whatnot like that. Just drop it to a 9. Just drop it to a 9. If you're going to add an average of 3 more points onto the roll, just reduce the difficulty to 9. It, first of all, takes it more in line with games similar to it. It also makes you not have to roll 3 dice to add together, which is it's such a weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
And if you're going to do 3d6, do it like, in my opinion, like Best Left Area or Orbital Blues, where 3d6 and even just do like a take the highest and have 1 be the damage. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I just feel like this was the
or Wolves Upon the Coast does, where it's like you have a static stat that you roll 3d6 under.
Right.
Even that is, I mean, that stat is also defined by 3d6. Like, so it makes a lot of sense together. But yeah, the fix on this, a little clunky, a little inelegant, and not really how I don't like it. It's like, frankly, I'm gonna play this game again with the current group I have out here in Oregon since I moved. But we're probably gonna use 2d6 to beat 10. I know 9's good, and mathematically what you're saying makes sense. But for me, like I liked that this was gritty and difficult, and I liked that it was sweaty at points, and I kind of keep that, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'd be curious to play with a 9 and play with a 10 and see what the numbers kind of add out. Because, like, I mean, the 2d6 is like 7 to 9, like 9 being the highest end of that bell curve for the average. So it's still not going to be the easiest thing ever. But, like, I just don't, of all the things we talked about, like, you would have to change aspects of the system, like, do like a roll under, but the stats need to be 3d6 or whatever. The easiest thing where nothing changes is just to reduce the difficulty to 9 or 10, as opposed to adding a third d6, which just feels, I just don't like it. I
know it is weird. Like, immediately when I read it, like forever ago when they did this update, because I think I talked to you about it afterwards, because like, we played
you immediately were like, what the fuck is this?
I'm not which is unfortunate, because actually everything else about this scene I really like a lot.
It's such a super easy thing to homebrew. I just, don't understand. I feel like of all the things you could have done, that's like the last thing I would have done, where I've just been like, my difficulty number's too high, or just give them another dice. Well, just lower the difficulty number.
Yeah.
So interesting choice. We'll see what happens in the rest of it. But considering that it is literally the core dice mechanic of the entire game, with expansions and additional stuff for combat and like a bunch of other stuff, if this is what they're going with, I mean, I'll just homebrew it. I felt like
everything else about this is so good. I'm still gonna get like, even if this is the dice mechanic they commit to, I'm still gonna get all the expansions and stuff. And then same. I'm just gonna, we might just do the drop the lowest die again, because I feel like that was a fine fix for my table. But I would be interested to try lowering the difficulty to like a 10 or whatever. I think that's like.
And here's the thing too. I mean, obviously we should just play it raw as well and see how it feels.
You mean
with the 3d6? Yeah, because maybe it worked. I mean, mathematically, it's probably about the same. Well, but if it's about the same, just use 2 dice and drop the difficulty number.
I have any dice pulled up as we're talking, actually. So I've been like pulling the math as we go, and it's yeah.
What's
Yeah.
it say?
I mean, so obviously 2d6 is a bell curve. The highest point is a 7. 10 is like on the obviously on the downslope. You have a 8.33% chance to hit just a 10, and that's not to hit like 10 or above. That's just to hit a 10.
On 2d6.
If I do 3d6 to hit 12, you have an 11.57. The bell curve is a little bit more mild. It doesn't peak quite as much, but that is closer. 12 is close to the center of the bell curve. Like there's only one point of the bell curve that's higher, and it's only higher by 1%. So yeah, I mean, hitting a 12 with 3d6 is way easier.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm curious. I would love to play a session with 3d6 with the 12, and then immediately play another session with 2d6 as a 9 and see how they feel. Because like if you drop the 2d6 to a 9 instead of a 10, like I wonder if those are the exact same numbers too. Like does it go to like 11% or whatever, or to like a 11? So as we play in any dice.
Yeah, so like to hit just a 9 on that is at that 11%.
It's exactly the same, right?
Yeah,
So then just don't make someone roll 3 dice. Just reduce the number to 12.
That's
you don't need as many dice at the table. So like mathematically, it's the same. I'm just like, why you picked the exact opposite of what I would pick. Instead of like having 2d6 to a 12 and then jumping to 3d6, you could have 2d6 from a 12 down to a 9. It's literally 3 points in your dice roll on average, or 3 points reduction in the difficulty number. It's mathematically almost the exact same. It's just such a weird choice to add another dice instead of just reducing the difficulty number. This is our only point of contention in the whole game, so this is why we're harping on it.
It's really the only complaint I have about it. Everything else is good, and we'll keep going instead of just going off on this. So good math, Ryan. Good internalized math.
Well, considering that I only write systems in my head and stuff as d6s, I know the numbers here. So anyway, so there's the stats. You got your strength, you got your dex, you got your whiz, you got your skills. So strength, as we said before, is strength, brute force, physical stuff. Dex is agility. You know what this stuff is. Wisdom, you know what that is. Skills. Characters may add their level to the roll if they have a relevant skill. I like that. Super clean. I like it's kind of the way the tools work, where like you can't do a thing unless you have the tool and then you have it. Characters with necessary tools or skills may bypass the roll entirely. Love that. Anytime you don't have to roll, you can keep going with the narrative. It's great. Simple and mundane tasks don't require rolls. It's all referee discretion. So rolling advantage, which is the bracket plus, and disadvantage, bracket minus. Rolling an advantage means rolling for an additional dice or removing the lowest. Rolling a it's you know what it is. You roll another dice. But here's the problem. Again, this is why I still think that adding the extra dice is the wrong choice when mathematically it's the same, for numerous reasons, right? The two biggest of which are the whole doubles thing becomes weird because you're rolling doubles on 3 dice and you're just saying, well, only 2 of them have to match. To me, that's such a weird, like instead of just having doubles on 2 dice, that's just cleaner. You don't have a random 1 dice that doesn't fit. And also, if you have advantage or disadvantage in a 3d6 system, now you're rolling 4d6. At this point, it basically feels like a dice pool system. You know what I mean? Like having 4 dice added in anytime you have advantage and disadvantage. So then at what point do you go, okay, you have advantage, so you roll 4, d6, right? What if you roll doubles, right? But it's not like you're rolling 4d6, right? What if you're rolling doubles, but like you would have a higher number with one of the dice that's not a double, right? So like, I guess you're technically critting, but you could have like a lower number. I wonder if the math would play out where you could roll 46, get doubles, but like if you stick with the doubles, you wouldn't hit 12, So it's just such a, I don't know. Again, I think it adds a clunk that's unnecessary. Right?
Right.
So, as I was saying, if with the 3d6, like since all you did was add another dice, the like doubles becomes weird because you have that one superfluous dice not accounted in the doubles. But the advantage and disadvantage system, you're rolling 4d6, right? So what happens when you're looking for doubles, but you're rolling 4d6, but only 3 count? What if you roll doubles, but if you go with the doubles, it's a lower dice roll than if you went with like the not double. So if you roll 2 2s, for example, but then your other one's like a 6, but the other one is like a 5, right? So you could get the doubles, but if you went 2 6 5 instead, it'd be higher instead of 2 6 2, right? Because 2 6 2 would be a fail, right?
Right.
Because that'd be a 10, right? But if you went 2 6 5, that would be a success, right? So you got doubles, but you have to drop one of them, right? I guess if it's disadvantage, you would drop the 2. So that's my question. So you roll doubles, but it doesn't count because you're rolling 4d6 and you have like.
But if you roll doubles and you fail, isn't that a crit fail?
Right, but what if your doubles, if you didn't roll the double, like your fourth die, like if you went with the other ones, you would succeed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like, so for example, like I said, like if you get 6 5 2 2, right, you drop the lowest, so you drop your doubles, which means you don't get a crit.
Right.
Like it's just a weird, it creates this almost like dice pool system of a number of, like, instead of just going, okay, 2d6 doubles is doubles, you have the 1, you have, you drop off the 1 anyway, and you can still have doubles. It is a lot cleaner.
I mean, like I think I know what I would do in that circumstance. Obviously, like I don't want to take the crit fail, but it does make it messier overall, you know?
When it's mathematically the exact same as far as the outcomes, like, you know, there's no reason not to just get rid of that weird clunk of a third and fourth die. You know, makes no sense. Combat, start of combat, characters into combat, they roll 1d6 for them and 1 for their adversaries. Highest goes first. Like easy peasy, standard war game rules.
Such a good. Thank you for not making initiative a pain in the ass. I appreciate it.
There are players can perform 1 of the actions on their turn, which is interesting, especially in a war game. So there are a number of actions. There's move, attack, disengage, cast a spell, pick up or use an item, and then additional actions inventory we'll get to. Interesting, and we'll get to it in a second, that pick up and use an item is its own action. So moving, you can move 30 feet across open terrain, climb 15 feet, or basically go half, but there's charge, which is neat. If you end your movement within striking distance of opponent, you may make 1 attack. I think that's such an interesting way to do move, where like you don't get an attack if you move unless you move into an attack position, then you get to do an attack. It's really
it's almost like a light push forward mechanic, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, that there you go. That's why I love it. Attack. So you can strike an opponent in melee or fire at range. It also, between move and attack, it creates this interesting part where, since you can't do both, you're going to have people up close and people farther away, because you're going to have your ranged people and your things. Disengage, you can step out of melee from your opponent, but the opponent may spend 1 strain to make an attack against you.
They spend 1 strain, wouldn't they? Oh, to
we'll get to
we'll get there. I remember.
Cast a spell.
I haven't played this in so long. I really liked this too. I need to pick this back up with
it's so adventure. Good. Yeah, and again, so clean. Cast a spell. You can cast a spell, pick up or use an item, use an item from your inventory, pick something up, or use a contraption. So it's interesting. In a lot of games, you can just like pick shit up as a free action. This one, nope,
no.
Yeah. So additional actions in inventory. A character may perform 1 additional action if they have any open or unfilled inventory slots. So you can move and attack, right? If you have an open inventory slot.
If you don't manage your inventory well, though.
But that's the thing. You don't get a lot of inventory, and every piece of armor adds to your inventory. So it's just like, damn, like, what do you do? I love the choice in how simple that. This is why I like nice, clean, but interesting inventory systems, because if you keep 1 slot open, you can move and attack, or you can fill that slot with a piece of armor and not get hurt as much. Like, what do you do? It's It's really interesting. So, using strain, this is what you're talking about. Characters may gain strain to perform additional actions. Mark 1 strain on your character. Each time you do this, you may do this number of times on your turn equal to your level. If a character has more strain than they have vitality, they are knocked out. Accrued strain is removed at the end of each encounter. When removing strain, you may spend your turn to recover, removing 1 strain per level. I think spending strain, you did bring up, is a weird way to do it.
Absolutely, yes.
I would think that, like,
you may take strain,
gain strain, accrue strain. Like, I think those are better. We're spending, again, I think that's probably a holdover from stamina, like where it felt like it was more of like a pool as opposed to a thing that you get.
Somewhere in Adobe, I have a version of this where I went through and highlighted everywhere that it was different, just so I could go through and look at it. And I don't know where that copy is. But I think this is one of the points I might have highlighted, because that wording was changed a lot in this, and like overall, the change has been very clean. So this actually, I totally missed this maybe because I don't remember seeing the spend thing.
The SOD still has spend. I would definitely change that to gain or accrue, especially because using strain down here, it says characters may gain strain to perform additional actions. So I would just do a consistency.
Gain. Yeah.
Just use gain. A quick random aside, they added hide into the SRD, which is interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Attacking. So attacker, I love.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
So good.
Let me tell you that after playing this, like, it took a few rounds for everyone to get this down, but it's great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love this. So melee attacking, attacker and defender both roll strength and level of relevant skill. If the attacker's roll is successful and greater than the defender's, the attack hits. If the roll is unsuccessful or less than the defender's roll, the attack misses or is deflected. If the rolls are equal, both sides roll for damage. If either side is unarmed, the opposing side rolls at advantage. It's really interesting. It reminds me slightly of Derf, but the difference in Derf is that in this one, like, if you miss, you just miss, right?
Right.
It's only if you roll the same number do you both do damage. In Derf, whoever rolls the highest does damage. So anytime you attack somebody, you could actually walk away injured. In this, I would almost like to do that in this.
Counterattack.
Oh, sorry. No, let me keep going. So counterattack, if the defender's roll was successful and higher than the attacker, they may spend, I would change it to gain, a strain to inflict a hit on the attacker. I do love any time that you can gain strain because of the way vitality and knockout works. Yeah, so it's great.
This made, first off, everyone was really engaged in combat, because every attack that you did or time that you were attacked, you were actively playing the game, because there's a chance that you can give damage or receive it. So everyone was really into it. Like, my table thought the dice were like really interesting. Like this mechanic was really interesting, and it was fun. Like, it was a blast to do.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about that the Derf mechanic I was just talking about, is that, like, you can't just sit around and wait for your turn, because, like, every time you hit or someone hits you, like, you have the chance to either do damage or be damaged, and this is the exact same kind of thing. Like, the engagement at the table would be so much better. The other part of that is flanked. If attacked by multiple opponents, defense rolls are at disadvantage, which is so clean. I love that. It's not some weird, like, if they're directly behind you or whatever. No. Multiple opponents, you're considered flanked. Super clean. That's one thing I like about this game a lot, is that there are a dozen different ways that they could do every little thing, and almost every time they pick the cleanest, simplest way, which is, it's so nice. Because, again, like, I want to play a game where the rules get out of the way and that it's easy to internalize, so I don't have to be like, wait, what's the flank rule again? Because it's so fucking easy.
And it's nice for it to be a skirmish game, which sometimes, maybe not in the indie scene as much, but in, like, the wider, like, more traditional, like, scene, they have the tendency to be a little complicated or particular. And very much the rules here are like, listen, this is still a skirmish game. You can still very much play it tactically, but, like, it's in a very simple and easy to, like, parse form.
Yeah, for sure. Range, attacker must have line of sight. And the defender may not be sight to defender and not be in melee. Attacker and defender both roll dex instead of strength. If the attacker roll successful, greater they hit. If the roll is unsuccessful, it misses or is dodged. If the defender is behind cover, engaged. This is if the defender is behind cover, engaged in melee, or partially concealed, they may roll at advantage. So like your defense rolls are at advantage.
Yeah.
Damage. For successful hits, roll damage and subtract it from the opponent's vitality. Crystal, maximum damage, and apply the weapon's critical effect. I like that you don't even fucking need a roll when you get a crit. It's just max damage. Perfect. Again, cleanest way you could do that.
Yeah.
Armor. Yeah. Characters with armor may subtract 1 damage from each piece of unbroken armor in the inventory or sacrifice 1 piece of armor to negate all damage from a single hit. Again, love that. Casting spells. This is definitely you're the wizard boy. Talk to me about this.
Wizard boy. Yeah. So casting is the action. Each spell lasts 10 minutes unless otherwise stated. Great. Some spells allow an opponent to whiz roll to avoid weird wording, to avoid some of the harm. Many spells increase in power based on level of the caster. I do also all the way through this love this like level added on. Very simple, very flat. Like it's not some weird like modifier that increases like randomly or like every other level. It's like, no, it's just your level. There are sorceries and miracles. Sorceries require a spell book, and you roll wisdom to perform. Miracles require fealty and favor, which we'll get to, from a deity to invoke.
Yeah, I love the difference between the sorceries and the miracles. Again, it's so much more. It's flavor for fucking days.
I can't wait to get to the miracles part because I think it's like a really cool, like, yeah, it's a very cool flavor RP like thing.
Exploration, weakness, crew. This is stuff that's just kind of like extra bits tacked on. We don't need to really go through a lot of this. This is guidelines for various aspects. There's time and travel sections, light and darkness, terrain, jumping, falling, wandering encounters, reaction rolls, starvation, things like that. A lot of like pretty standard, straightforward rules that are in a lot of like clean exploration games. So,
and before we like totally skim them, I would like to say like not that we need to read them, but they do follow this theme of they're all very easy to understand. They're kind of the simplest form while being very functional. So while we're not going to go through every single one because we don't really need to, you should buy it. Buy the book.
Yeah, buy the book. I mean, just download it.
There is this like focus on the simple and effective all the way through,
which is really great to see. The whole rest status effects, and then do we get to sorceries? Okay, yeah, then we get to more of the flavors. So resting, there's this little blurb. There's only 1 or 2 little flavor blurbs in this whole thing. It's pretty much just a rule book, you know?
Yeah.
But it says what little respite there is in this world must be bought with toil and hardship. Those who manage to survive another day count themselves lucky and prepare for the next one under the cover of night. So characters who find a suitable place to camp or hide out for the night may perform one of the following activities. Recover, which is you regain D6 at disadvantage vitality. 10, which is heal another for D6. It's interesting that the recover in 10, because like maybe I'm not damaged at all. So you can do recover and then I can tend you. So you can actually get double, which is cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do both. Like you can't recover and tend. I like that. You can choose to patrol, so there's no wandering encounters. You can choose to forage. You gain D6. Everything is at disadvantage. I love that because the world sucks. Fuck you.
Yeah. Everything's hard and terrible.
Yeah. Gain D6 -1 rations. Ritual, you can cast a spell. Sorceries do not require wisdom roll or strain because you're doing it with the ritual. Invocation, right. You gain your daily favor with your chosen deity. We'll go over that in a second. Repair, you can fix a single broken tool, weapon, or piece of armor. And it does require a tool or a skill. And then craft, you can create a single mundane object, simple tool, or ammunition. Requires a skill or craft. And then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's like 6 status effects, which I think are more than enough.
They're more than
Blinded,
enough. Absolutely.
Yeah, and they're pretty straightforward. Blinded attack rolls are at disadvantage. Exhausted, you gain 1 strain. Gain, again, good choice. And lose 1 inventory slot until you rest. This can be gained multiple times, and it stacks. Frightened, attacks and skills are at disadvantage. Reroll wisdom at the beginning. Knocked down, you must spend an action to stand up. Attack against your advantage. Poisoned, you roll strength or gain 1d6 disadvantage strain. Each day roll strength. Success, the poison is cured. Failure, you gain another strain. Strain lost this weight can't be regained until the poison is cured. Drinking an antidote or visiting a healer allows for a strength reroll. I love that. Really clean poison. And then stunned, lose 1 action at the start of your turn to shake off the effect. And a great piece of art here again. So, sorcery. Talk to me about it. You are the magic man.
Oh, sorcery. Yeah, I'm a sorceress boy. Yes, magic gained from study and experimentation upon the forces and natural orders of the world, observed by orthodox scholars and fell warlocks alike. Sorceries exist as recorded documents to be exploited by the wielder. Yeah. So
no, you got to keep doing that the rest of the episode. Get
No,
deep
I'm
in that
good.
mic.
That was good. Yeah. So this is a classless game. Not that it doesn't have class, but that character classes aren't there. So any character can attempt to cast sorcery once per day if they wield a spellbook. Yeah, you roll wisdom to cast. Successful meaning the spell was properly performed, and failure means you failed. And there's a critical failure in which a catastrophe occurs, and that's fantastic. A spell can be cast again in the same day, but cost an additional strain for each cast. Second, costing 2 strain. The third, casting 3. Very cool. I like that you can repeat spells, but also it's like it gets harder and harder every single time. Spellbook is a catch-all term. I do like this. It could be anything. There is a little. You know what? I'm gonna roll a spellbook. I'm worth it. So,
it's just 1d6.
I rolled a
right?
6.
Ooh,
So I have a tablet, a sculpture, or a corpse. We just imagine the sorcerer that keeps like a wrapped up dead body, or like the arm of another wizard, like that's just tattooed and written on them. Oh yeah, I start with 3 slots and D6 spells.
Roll another d6. See how many spells you get.
Oh yeah, let's see how many spells I got in my. Well, I actually rolled 3d6 and I rolled a 6, 6, and 3. So if we're saying the first 2 are ones, that means I rolled a 6 and I have 6 slot spells. So
Damn. What if you literally carry the entire corpse with you the entire time, like
I was
wrapped
thinking,
up as a backpack?
Have you seen Death Stranding? Have you played Death Stranding?
I mean, I'm aware of
the
it.
First mission, you carry a corpse to an incinerator, and I was thinking like that, like it's on your back, like wrapped up, like very mummy-like, you know?
Yeah.
And you just have it with you at all times. Yeah.
And that's how you go through the world.
If someone
dope.
sat at my table and said that shit to me, I would be like, you are the coolest person who's ever sat at my table and played. That is the tightest shit I've ever heard. Yeah. And there's magical catastrophes. I rolled a 3, so we'll just say that one. So if you roll, a crit fail, detonation, a cascading chain reaction of magic, deal d6 damage to self and everyone within 30 feet. There's also a mutation where you can gain a random mutation, a storm where like an aether storm of like lightning fucking happens for like d6 days, and then you can roll for the storm. That's right. Cool. Yeah. Very cool.
I love nested tables. I love nested tables.
I love nested tables. And then this one's cool too, because I like that it's like, fuck, I rolled the storm, and you're like, oh fuck, I have to roll what type of storm. I look forward to seeing the expansions for this game, because I have a feeling this is like an area rife for expansion.
Mm-hmm. Charlie threw in a chat what the next 2 expansions are about. Now that you brought it up, they said one is on creating a sandbox campaign, which would be interesting. And one is on balance and combat focused games. So I assume there will be more sorceries and stuff in that, because that's part of combat and whatnot. So that'll be fun.
Sick. Moving on to the 2 schools of sorcery. I believe in the SRD there's more than 2 now. But in this version there's 2. There is the you gonna do it? Oh.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 plus the addition of the foci, which get the SRD if you want to learn about that.
Yeah, you should pay for this. You should go. Yeah. You should go on itch. You should go feral indie-studios.itch.io and get this, because there's so much cool about this. So cool. The Earth Flame and the Golden Thorn. There's just 2 different styles of sorcery that have their kind of flavor text below them, and they both signify other things. But the sorceries are cool. The Earth Flame sorcery that we begin with is burning visage, a cascade of fire, a visage of ruins hidden within. D6 damage per level. D6 damage per level to target in line of sight. Target rolls wisdom or becomes frightened. So they're burning so bad they're scared. The next one, purify. I don't need to go through all these actually. We'll go golden sorcery next. The first one you get is ensorcel with thorns. Golden vines with cruel thorns wreath your weapon. Melee weapons gain the bleed critical. If the weapon already has bleed, normal attacks cause bleed.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
So sick. I love the two. No,
go ahead. No, say what you say.
No, I just love the two aspects of this here. Like the sorceries, like all of them are obviously flame related. Burning Visage, Purified Flame, Cinder Communion, Firewalk. And then the Golden Thorn, like this Ensorcel Thorns, Manacles of Gold, Penitence of Briars. Like those are two such cool ideas for sorcery. Like obviously Flame is going to be super classic, but like the whole like Thorn nature bit, just so fucking vibey still. And then like just so cool.
Yeah, and all of the spells are equally as grim and ridiculous as like grim and gonzo as everything else has been as we've gone through. They really hold to the theme.
Yeah, but and still are clean, like super elegant.
Absolutely,
like 1 to 2 lines. Period. Donezo.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. Like our greatest critique so far has been how clunky the updated dice mechanic is. But like as far as terms of like clunkiness goes, that's literally it. Everything else are so clean and easy to understand and like easy to like iterate on at your own table or like innovate on at your own table. Miracles. Let's go to miracles. I love the art. It's like this weird tentacled, winged, like biblically accurate angel type thing.
Right.
Okay. Magic gifted by a divine being that attempts to enthrone their will upon the world. Invoked by pious hermits and zealous theocrats, miracles exist as extensions of deities and their esoteric agendas. Greater acts of worship are granted greater miracles, steep and dangerous bargains to the pious fools who would worship conniving gods. I do like the miracles in this. It almost reminds me of like the D&D world. Like you're making a deal with a greater being. Although the difference is that the D&D warlock sucks. And this is cool. So divine fealty. You gain or cast miracles. To gain or cast miracles. I can read. You must swear fealty to a deity. Each has their own requirements and punishments. Casting miracles, they require favor to cast, which is its own like a resource. Favor is gained by performing acts of fealty in order to spend them to cast miracles. Each miracle costs 1 favor to cast, and the character can hold any amount of favor. Cool does not cap. Also cool that it really like influences this like role playing, like you do these acts to worship your god, which great. And daily favor. Each evening or rest, a character can perform an invocation for 1 favor. Unless used to cast a miracle, this favor is lost at the end of the day. So no matter what, you can gain your one free favor for basically like praying or whatever. But it goes away at the end of the day. The other ones you can bank and keep, but you have that one repeating favor. Next, gaining favor. Characters can gain favor through acts of service to the deity. There's a bunch of examples. I think converting another is a good one, or sacrifice a magical object or treasure. I know that hurts. Willfully deny yourself a tool or boon. Make things worse for yourself. I feel like this is one where like that really depends on your table and the deity you're worshiping and like and in gaining miracles, each time a character survives an adventure, they may forego the additional level and advancement, instead gaining an additional miracle from their deity. we go. Hello. Sorry, my mic just disconnected. Moving on. To the two different deities. You have Solg the body and Ko the star.
I'd probably say Ko, but I think Quo sounds cool
Quo
too.
the star. Two really, what it reminds me of? It reminds me a little bit. This reminds me of how deities work in Elden Ring. If like they're not good, and they all have agendas, and they're all vying to take over this next age of the Erd tree, but they all follow. They're like greater entities, you know. So we'll go through Solg the body, the unshaped matriarch, the Lord of Resurgence, the body that shall never die. Solg is the gift of unceasing life and a united world beyond the reach of death. To the wise, such a blessing is a curse, unlike any other. For fealty to Solg, you must never strike a killing blow. Wasting precious living flesh is sacrilege, which is a crazy act of fealty in a skirmish war game. And I really wish somebody at my table had picked this, because I would have loved to watch the frustration this would have caused everyone else. I was like, sorry, it's against my religion to take life, you know?
Right, crazy.
You curse, your vitality is permanently reduced by half.
Crazy.
So initiation, mending. This is the first miracle that you get. This is touch another and restore them. Restore D6 at disadvantage vitality per level. The second one is transpose body, touch another, swap any disease, status effect, and damage suffered between self and other. Roll dex to avoid. So you can swap out. It's so.
And then it's like, whoop, nope, never mind. Just dodged it.
And then there's auto communion. Suffer 1d6 damage and gain 1d6 rations. Auto communion.
So so self cannibalism for if you don't get it.
Yeah. And then the final one, the blessing of abundance. You touch another, restore them of D6 at advantage vitality per level. Roll dex to avoid. If the vitality gained from this exceeds the target's max, they detonate into a shower of still living gore. Defeated but not technically slain.
That's crazy. So they're still alive, just in chunks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good. Like you said, I love that these deities are deities, but they're fucked. Like, it's totally so fucked. Dark. It's so fucked. Like you said, it feels more like a warlock patron than a deity. But I love that in this world, like, these are the gods, and the gods are just fucked. Like,
yeah, I think Ko the Star ends up being the more forgiving of the two. I think Solg the Body is by far the most interesting choice a player could make, and I would try to reward them for it. And Ko's cool, like the curses that you become blind permanently, but you get stuff like turning invisible or giving a command to a creature, and if they don't obey it, they're struck by lightning or something.
So there's two more in the SRD too. Dusa the Mother and Avj the Fly. So download it to read those.
Yeah. The other thing is for Ko the Star is the one like true lord. So the fealty, you can hold no fealty or audience to mortal lords. Only the cosmic can guide the mortal. Which there is a section here too which talks about like fealty to the lords, like that's such a thing here, and like for that to be it's so cool.
Yeah,
I pray for the problem player that wants to do that, because I'm like, yeah, absolutely do it.
And the curse being permanently blinded, but I love how all of it is about like the unseen hand, the eye. Like, it's such a good, again, consistent, clean flavor.
And the art, by the way, we've been talking about this, but the art for Solg the Body and Ko the Star are upsetting, to say the least.
Yeah.
For those of you
Mhm.
listening on podcast, and Solve the Body is like a headless torso with like these weird arms that end in almost tentacles, but also the guts are spilling out of the body. And then Coda Star is a star with a crown that is connected to it and like jewelry hanging off it, but the star is not like a clean star. It looks like it's almost skeletal or something.
Mhm.
Uh, it's very good.
I love it. I love these dark deities. They're so good. Um, a lot of the rest of this, there's the monsters and adversaries. So a little more flavor. The Running Land attracts monsters as a soft corpse, attract flies, despots, brigands, everything. So I like how this starts immediately with like making adversaries and then gives you a bunch of examples. Like that's what I want. Like don't just give me examples, give me how to make my own. So rolls and levels, all rolls for monsters are made using their level. Morale is listed under the stats. When harmed or in danger, they have a chance to flee. So creating new adversaries, you can literally, again, like everything else, there's like D6 roll tables. So you can do 1 to 2, 3 to 5, and 6 for frail, average, or strong. There's a morale table, which is pretty standard morale. So flees if injured, 1 in 6 chance to flee if injured, flees at half health, 1 in 6 that it flees at half health or fights to the death. I like that. That's really interesting. And you can roll that before it even starts. You're not doing like morale roll in combat. It's just
I do like that, you know. You decide when they retreat before you even begin.
Yeah, it just makes it so easy to keep track of. Attacks, you pick or roll a weapon. That's it. But select additional abilities, magic or hazards to make the adversary stand out. Just do whatever. Pick a weapon and do whatever. I love that. Yep. The art through these is really cool. There's the Lindworm, there's a Briar White, the Musketeer, the Hop. So I do like the connection with some of the stuff. The Briar White, for example, is basically just like a person with like briars coming out of them. But one of the things they have is this gold thorn mantle, which reminds me of like obviously like it harkens back to the sorcery with the gold thorn and stuff like that. That's cool. Musketeer, Hob, Charred Warlock, Fallen Knight. All cool stuff. Nice little like example.
The Charred Warlock obviously being of the Erd Flame, another like reference back to.
Yeah, they know 2 random Erd Fire sorceries. Like so cool, so cool. And then maladies are super dope. Do you want to roll up some maladies?
Yeah.
So we got diseases and curses are what we get for the maladies.
So D6 for diseases and 2D6 for curses, is that right?
Yeah. So it says as the land rots, so too do the bodies of mortal kind. So diseases each day roll strength or suffer the effects of the disease, similar to poison. And curing a disease, each disease lists the cures. So what'd you get for your disease?
1 gnarl pox. Roots sprout and wrap around you, threatening to encase you into a gnarlwood tree. The effect is -1 strength, double damage from fire. When your strength reaches 0, your body gives in to the vines and you are slowly bound into a gnarlwood. Cure 3 consecutive saves or a painful surgery by an experienced gardener.
Nice. Very nice. That one's really cool. The bone weevils are really cool. The slivering is dope. Right, and then curses. Each day you roll wisdom or suffer the effects, and you cure a curse. Some spells have the ability to purge curses. Otherwise, you must visit a site of great magic or divine power. So, 2d6 possible curses. What do you got for your 2d6 on curses?
2.
Oh, whoa! Ranged projectiles always target you. That sucks. So it's just like, and it like spins back around to get you.
Dude, yeah, I'm excited for the sandbox campaign for this. I'll probably end up running it because I really do like this a lot. I liked it when it came out. Yeah,
the flavor's so dark and fucked. It's so good. I love it. And some of the other ones, like it's. I love that all the curses are these like little bitty mechanical bits. Like I rolled and got sorcery targets are always random. But imagine getting cannot gain divine favor and you're a miracle worker. Like,
oh, dude.
Or reaction rolls are always hostile. Like literally everyone just hates you all the time. So we're basically done. There's the Lord section. So despotic mortals sit upon rotting thrones, desperate for power. So there's service to a lord that you can do through the enlistment or threat. You can do service to a lord. They grant you food, shelter, some shares of treasure or whatever. So you can roll 2d6 for your lord's qualities. What do you got?
Oh,
It's a 1 to 3 and a 4 to 6 table on this one.
4-3.
Also, it's glutton. You got a glutton for a lord.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love these decrepit sadists. Like, of course, that's what you're gonna do.
It's a glutton. It's a glutton in a dying world of famine, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so just an awful piece of shit. Valuables can be traded for 2 times their weight in mundane items, so that's cool. Like, that's one of the benefits of having a lord is that you actually they're basically like your home spot where you can, like, rest and trade in your stuff. There's a service length. So one off, a season, a year, or a lifetime gives you certain things. So if you do a one-off, you get 1 valuable. A season, you get 1 valuable and a choice of equipment. If you do a year, you get D6 valuables, choice of equipment and lodging. And if you do lifetime, you get D6 at advantage valuables. So I rescind my earlier plus minus thing because it has been used a couple of times.
yeah.
D6 with advantage valuables, choice of equipment, lodging, and 1 artifact. And you can break service by reneging on a task or being caught subverting a lord's will. They're dangerous adversaries who hold sway. So it's a cool thing to have. I really like it. It's clean. It's straightforward. It basically gives you an auto home base, and also gives the GM some pretty easy, like,
Something to play with.
so yeah, you could literally, that's just your quest giver at that point. Like, your glutton lord is like, find me flesh, and like, you have an adventure. I really like that. It's great. It is expanded on a lot more in the SRD. They also have like banners and stuff, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I did see that. That is very cool. It is funny. I think this is a very operable, and not very operational, like, skirmish game, but there's great role playing stuff in here. I mean, there's just like top notch RP stuff in this.
Yeah. See, I mean, I think it obviously works as a skirmish game, but just like Forbidden Psalm, like, skirmish games are fine, but I play Forbidden Psalm as an RPG because you can. It's like, it's basically just like it's basically Merkborg, but there's like different flavors, and it kind of simplifies a lot of character creation stuff and gives you some like this. Like, I would never play this as a skirmish game. I would just always play as an RPG.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
But but listen, if you're not us and you're like, I'm more of a skirmish game person, you can,
well, not only that, because you can do it solo, co-op. You can do it solo as one character, solo as a band of characters. Like, it makes it so easy to have literally pretty much whatever you want to do. And the system is clean, light enough, and malleable enough to do that, except for that dice mechanic they should change. But last thing is artifacts and loot. Why don't you roll me a d6 for random artifact?
I rolled a 4. The resurgent rings, 2 rings of tarnished gold, 1 set with a grinning face, the other screaming in terror. It's 1 slot. 2 parties who wear these rings transfer their consciousness, swapping bodies. This effect ends when both rings are removed. Alternatively, the effect is permanent if one of the bodies are slain.
Dope. So it's like a Freaky Friday rings,
Yeah. Imagine like being in a cursed or diseased body, finding a random person, putting the ring
Swapping.
on them, and then immediately killing your original body.
Oh my god, that's so good. So good.
That's what I
Oh
would
my god. Oh my god, that is so good. That's amazing. Yeah, body snatchers for sure. God, you could basically be immortal. Like, you just have to keep your rings. That's so dope. Oh, that's so good. Look at the flavor. Look at the flavor. And the last thing is loot. Each adversary is typically carrying a bunch of loot. There's 2d6 random table of loot. It's there. It's fine.
Something useful, something to eat, something deadly. It's just, I love the descriptors here.
That's good. Something magical, something powerful. So this is 20 pages. This is the updated version of the original zine, which is 20 pages too. There's really not a whole lot of changes between 1 and 2. There's just a couple, like strain, the 3d6 should go back to 2d6. The SRD is, gosh, how many pages? It's like 40 pages. It's literally twice the content in the new SRD. And on the H page, Charlie talks about the fact that it's this is just a bunch of stuff that they threw in as test material, and it's not the quote unquote official content. It's just fun stuff, but a lot of the stuff in it is really, really good. Obviously, I'm not going to review a lot of this stuff, but like things that they add into it, like banners, which is basically like a banner you fight under, which gives like your band various abilities, which is super cool.
Oh, cool.
There's
I
a
have
bunch
not
of
deep dived the
scenarios.
SRD. I've like
Oh,
gone
it's so
through,
good.
but I've been like,
There's a bunch of scenarios at the back too, complications and settings and stuff like that in the back. Again, there's double the amount of sorcery, there's double the amount of miracles, and just a lot of other fun stuff. Expansion on like the lords, so it's definitely worth grabbing. I mean, if you go get the game, you get access to this, so go do that. It's super fun. And I like how it's, again, it's modular-ish, so you can just add the banners or whatever you want. So that is Vermhack from Feral Indie Studio, Charlie Fergraves, Charlie Ferguson and Avery. Let's go to, you ready to score this bad boy?
oh, I've never been more ready for anything in my life.
All right. So it's only 20 pages. This is obviously a zine. We're giving it a zine score. Honestly, if it hits like 40, 50 pages or becomes like a thing, maybe we'll bump it up to book. But like it literally is like I'm holding the zine. So it's a zine.
Yeah.
So visuals, thoughts?
So the art in it is very good. The font in it is very good. Even the font in past the titles, but in the regular text font is incredibly easy to read. And my eyes like this font. What font is it actually? I am not a big font guy. I should be better, but I'm not.
It's some standard sans serif.
Yeah. Listen, it's good. It's easy to read. It's operational. The spot art on the end of a lot of pages is all very good. It all fits the theme. The art for the miracles and sorceries, the art for the Lord, showing this like insane person on a throne, like this dingy, insane person. It just screams like, hey, this is pretty much the end and everything's fucking terrible and you're gonna have a bad time. I think visually for like the setup of the zine, the 2-column works, and I take no issue with it. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't gonna be like a BDSM or something like that, where like the visuals suffuse every page. I mean, obviously Charlie is a fucking amazing artist. Love the cover, love the spot art. I think the book itself is very just like all the rules, like it's very clean, it's very straightforward. It's what's the word I'm looking at? It's all the things you need, and outside the art, it's just
Concise.
There's no flourish. It's concise. Yeah, it's very I keep trying to.
So go ahead before we say it.
No, I was gonna say I keep trying to encourage my brain to come up with the word by like repeating the, but it's just not doing that thing.
It is interesting how clean and concise this game is, but how I'm still so drawn into it.
Yeah, but I mean that's great. Like what's great about these clean, concise systems and stuff is that, again, like I like games where the rules get out of the way, so that you can stay immersed and get into like a flow state. And a game like this, where everything is like so simple and consistent, like it wouldn't be hard to pretty quickly never have to look at the rules. And that's what I want. So visually, I mean, I think aside from the art being fantastic, it's pretty straightforward. Like there's no flourishes, there's no bonuses. It's very Spartan. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty straightforward. So black and white, 2-column layout, not a whole lot to write home about. I think the zine itself with that chartreusey color on the front is definitely what I would review, and that's fucking amazing. So if you took the art out, it's a 5. You know what I mean? It's a 5 or a 6. Throw Charlie's art in, maybe I'm at like a 6 or a 7. I'm
at a 7, I think. So
yeah,
I could do 6 or 7. You call it.
Yeah, I just like, if anyone sees the spreads and stuff for Ave Nox, or look at things like Vast in the Dark from Charlie and stuff like that, like something like this, like when you look at like the vibes that can come through in some of the other Charlie stuff, like pages like this, comparatively, like obviously I think that if this ever gets to a final stage, it will be much more, you know what I mean? But in this page, this is clearly a very like straightforward, this is just the rule book, I think, I don't know, I feel like I'm torn because I think 7's kind of generous because it's just visually it's fine.
Yeah,
but
that is fair.
I think it's a 5, and then Charlie's art bumps it up to a 6.
Okay.
If you're cool with that, I guess.
Yeah, go off.
All right. Yeah. I just feel like let's go 7. Rule set. I mean, we have thoughts on the core dice mechanic.
I do. It's unfortunate because it's like everything else is so good.
Everything else is so good. Again, just to reiterate, for those that skipped to this part of the show, it just makes no sense. Like to have a target number of 12 on 2d6, and instead of just reducing the target number, you add another dice, which just muddies everything because of the use. Like doubles is still criticals, but now you're rolling 3 dice, and if you have advantage or disadvantage, now you're rolling 4 dice. Is just so unnecessary.
It's too much for me. I'm not.
When mathematically, like we already looked at, like dropping the difficulty from 12 to 9 instead of adding a third d6 is mathematically almost exactly the same. I just think it adds a level of clunk that otherwise, how many times do we say this system is like super clean, super straightforward, like super concise, always picks easiest thing,
it's
but
really
still
just
good.
that one thing.
Yeah, it's just a level of clunk that's not at anywhere else in the game that's just unnecessary. Like, just drop the difficulty to 9 and keep it 2d6, and it's the exact same game with much cleaner core resolution mechanic. Other than that, yeah, you're right. I fucking love this game. Like, obviously, like, listen, if you watch this show or listen at all, you know that I love the fuck out of this game. It's grimdark as fuck. It's like even the deities are fucking like gross living corpses and shit. Like it's so good. And plus Charlie's art is insane. So rule set wise, I mean, I think if they did the 2d6 with the 9 as the difficulty, I'd be at like a pretty easy 8 or 9 on this.
Oh, absolutely. But at this point, I'm lower than that. You know?
I do think that it's super easy to. It's not like it breaks anything technically. The math still works, but it is clunky, and everything else is fantastic. So I'm like, what are your thoughts? Where are you at on this?
I think I'm coming up against a 7.
Yep, that's exactly where my brain was at. Yeah, honestly, if they fix the core resolution mechanic and added like the 20 pages of the SRD, which I think are all fantastic. I read it and they're fantastic. Yeah. I'd be at like an easy 9 for this. This is one of my favorite games in a long time.
Yeah.
That I think is fucking amazing. But just, I mean, if it's your core mechanic and I'm not a fan, like, it definitely drops some points. Vibes. My God.
Oh, through the roof.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely where this is going to shine score wise, because like, I mean, everything feeds into the vibe, and not even just that. It's like it opens up. Everything opens up these great moments for like role playing or like experiencing like this really fucked up, terrible world. And even to the point like where the weapon abilities too, like add that other layer of like how active combat can be, how flavorful combat can be. I think I'm at like an 8 or 9 for vibes. So.
Oh God, yeah, dude, I'm at like a 9 or 10 for vibes. So I think
let's do it.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Like an easy 9?
Oh, I'm an easy 9. If you said 10, I would not argue. So
I'm gonna go 10. I mean, for me personally, like there are very few games I've read that I've wanted to play more. Like these are my vibes all day. These are my vibes all day. And again, like outside of the core dice mechanic, if my brain kicked that over and I thought about it that way, and again, like if they even put some color on the inside, like God, if they did the entire SRD at 40 pages and then the 2 expansions and then came out with a hardcover book for this that's full of Charlie's insane art, this would be one of my favorite books that I own. Like, I can already imagine it based on all the zines I have from Feral Indie, based on Seth and Citadel, based on Weird and Wild. Like this has, and again, here's the other thing. He created the system dropped the zine and immediately dropped expand like SRDs. So this was definitely like a, I think it even says it on it too somewhere. Like this is definitely like a work in progress. It's going, like this is not the end.
It's a living project.
Yeah. And I cannot wait to see how it is at the end. And I love that this is the way that they're doing it. They gave you a zine right off the bat to have something physical that is gorgeous. And then there's these updates. And after the current project, there's going to be more updates. I'm so excited for the future of this. So what is that, like a 24?
Yes.
Yeah, look at that. Easy math. Still a good score.
Yeah.
Again, like it's great. I love this game. I love this game so much. I would really love, hey, I just really think about, I think the two biggest things is the gain for strain. I think so there's some consistency with spend and just that core dice mechanic. I would really just reconsider 2d6 with a difficulty of 9 instead of 3d6 because it muddies everything up. That's it for us. That's it for Zine Quest.
Except for Zine Quest. Farewell, Zine Quest 2024. You were. Listen, we were super happy to be able to spot. I think we talked to like 11 or 12 different, well, more, sometimes there were more than, we had 11 or 12 different episodes with interviews. We talked about like, I think 25 or 30 projects. We did, I think 5 or 7 APs. We did a fucking lot for Zine Quest. Listen, if you're thinking about doing Zine Quest next year, when we talk in December about reaching out to us, reach out to us in December. Don't wait till the middle of fucking February. Yeah. Like, we would love to have you on the show. January, you know?
Yeah, if we could schedule the whole month early, that would help our brains. But when we're literally getting messages like a week into people's projects, we're here, we exist. Hit us up. We'll let you know again next year. Zine Quest. I spent too much money. Once again, goodbye. I don't know what we're doing in March. We have thoughts. We'll let you know.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't tell you. We'll figure it out.
All
right.
Bye.
Bye.